My name is Prentice Lee, and I'm the superintendent at what I believe to be the best high school district in the country, Community High School District 128. I would like to take a minute this morning to thank you for taking the time out of your busy lives to be with us this morning. The District 128 Superintendent's Breakfast has become a very special annual event that recognizes the thoughtful and generous contributions that stakeholders like you have made to the District 128 Foundation for Learning. Your contributions continue to support the enrichment and enhancement of student learning through teaching that is above and beyond the norm. A primary objective under our third district strategic planning goal, which is to maintain the financial stability of the district, a vibrant foundation working with our school board members, administrators, and most importantly our teachers to provide cutting-edge teaching and learning opportunities for our students is a very high priority in District 128. As you will learn this morning, past and present foundation board members and donors have made substantial contributions to taking the students' educational experience to the next level. Now that is exciting, and that is District 128. From the original foundation design team to the former and current foundation board of trustees, to individual, family, and corporate donors, so many have played a critical role in creating and funding programs and projects that continue to enrich and enhance the learning opportunities for students at LHS and VHHS. With that said, a special thank you to our donors and to our foundation trustees. You are greatly appreciated, and you have made a difference in the lives of our students at Libertyville and Vernon Hills High Schools. Without further ado, it gives me great pleasure to introduce you to District 128 Foundation for Learning Chairperson Ann Landgraf. Ann has been a highly effective representative of and advocate for District 128 for many years. And we were ecstatic that when Ann decided to retire from the District 128 Board of Education, she chose to continue her amazing commitment to our district as a foundation trustee and a foundation leader. Please join me in welcoming Ann Landgraf.
Thank you, Prentice. And also thank you, Prentice, for this wonderful breakfast that you provided for us and your continued support for the foundation. I also want to thank Carol Spoden and Mary Toderick for all your hard work in organizing this event. I know you had to arrange for the food, for the entertainment, to get the materials printed. I know it was a big job, and thank you very much. So good morning to everybody, and thank you so much for being here at our annual event that celebrates the success of District 128's Foundation for Learning. I would like to take a moment to introduce those board members who are present today. If you please stand when I call your name. Judy Nuremberger is our vice chair. She's over here. Mike Sarovich is our retiring treasurer. Okay. Buzz Perry is also a board member. Jason Newman is a board member. And Prentice is a board member. And we have a former board member with us here, Bill Skeets. Thank you, Bill, for being here. It is very rewarding for me to continue my involvement with District 128 through the foundation. And what's more rewarding is to be surrounded by people who are so vested in the success of our students. And of all the people who are here today, I have to say that all the board members really care about our kids and really want to do what's best for them. I know there are a few people here this morning who have been invited to find out more about our foundation. Prentice gave a very nice summary. I would like to add, though, that we have been established just 4 years ago, so we are not that old of an organization. And of course, our goal is to provide enrichment opportunities for students in both of our high schools, as we believe we can never do enough for our students to prepare them for the future. Through the generous donation of those present here in the room and the many others who are not able to be with us this morning, we have been able to fund over $46,000 in innovation grants and classroom projects since our inception that enrich the learning environment in our buildings. Thank you so much to you for your contribution for our efforts this year, and to the many of you who are now doing this on an annual basis. We will hear from teachers today whose students have been impacted by our grants and information about the whole round of innovation grants can be found on our website, and information on getting to our website are found in the information on the tables. This past year, we raised the award limit for the grants to $1,500. And as our organization is growing, we plan on continuing the innovation grant program, but also want to branch out to help cover and fund the ever-changing and evolving technology that our students are using at an ever more complex level. This is their world now, and our students need to be on the cutting edge of what is new in order to succeed and compete in the world of the future. We plan to partner with the district to help expand advanced technology. To that end, we are planning 2 events this year that will bring more awareness of our foundation to the community and serve as a fundraising vehicle as well. And this morning, you will hear about our plans to have a 5K run that we will have over the Memorial Day weekend, and we also plan to have an adult social in November. As much as we are very grateful for your continued monetary support, we would also welcome your involvement with us to help staff these events. If you have any interest in volunteering for an event or want to volunteer on one of our foundation committees, please see one of the board members or Carol Scoden to take your name. Thank you again so much. We appreciate your continued support, and we are now going to hear from some of those teachers and how they've impacted their classrooms. I'd like to introduce Judy Norberg.
Thank you, Ann. At this time, if there are any students who need to be dismissed to go to early bird class, would you take this opportunity to now get your instruments, and we'll miss you, but do your calls. Good morning. As Ann said, I have been the chair of the projects committee for the foundation for the past 3 years, and I have to say it has been a pleasure. My committee consists of staff members, trustees, and community members, and we get to review the applications and make recommendations to our foundation board on projects that should be funded. This past fall, we were able to award funds to 8 innovation grants. Very innovative, very creative, very exciting. And you can find more information about those 8 projects on our foundation website. Your newsletter this morning shows you a photo of the recipients. I thought this morning we would like to take an opportunity, instead of reviewing our newest projects, to give you some information of projects that recently completed. Our 2 speakers this morning have projects that completed last June. And our first speaker is Sherry Rooks from Libertyville High School. Sherry has received more than 1 grant from us. Her grant proposals are always interesting, very informative, very detailed. And I'd like to welcome Sherry up to give us some information about her projects.
Good morning. My name is Sherry Rooks, and I am a science teacher at LHS. I've been in the district for 14 years, and without the grants, a lot of this would have been figuring out how to come up with my own funds to do some of these projects. Yes, I am a multiple award winner. It started a couple of years ago when I won 1 grant for Chemistry Day, which I will talk about. Then I received 2 grants the following year, 1 on material science and 1 on Good Eats. And this past November, I was the recipient of 3 grants, which all my students are really excited about. One of them is partnering with the Shed Aquarium. Then we have 1 on nanotechnology, as well as 1 on solar cells. I would like to discuss a little bit about 2 of my projects. The first one is Chemistry Day, and Chemistry Day is an outreach program that we do at the school for the middle school and elementary schools in the area. These are my honors chem kids. They get a list of topics, and then they research it, and they have to describe it and explain it for a first grader to understand. So they now see the challenge as teachers, how to describe things without using terms that younger kids don't understand. So they see my challenge all the time. They had a lot of fun. They had to come up with activities and ideas to do to show them, the little kids, these concepts. It was not just, let's just talk about it. I told them, just like you, they like to get their hands messy, so you have to come up and do something creative. The theme that we had for Chemistry Day was the science of superheroes. So every single chemistry activity related to a superpower of a superhero. It could have been from a comic strip, it could have been from the movies, it could have been, from a TV show, but they had to relate it somehow. Some of the activities were for all the elastic superheroes. They got to make slime and silly putty. Those were some of the stations. For elasticity as well, students wanted to research bouncy balls, so kids were able to make bouncy balls. The superhero that was magnetic, we had ferrofluid out, so you could see the properties of how we can embed particles that are magnetic and make someone magnetic. We had a rolling mill out that I actually took from my material science grant because someone wanted to talk about how strong superheroes were. So using the rolling mill, we were able to flatten pennies like they did for material science, and they saw how this little penny could become a penny this big and no longer look like a penny. And we flattened some that were pure copper from the old days to the newer ones that are mainly zinc, and they saw then the blending of the copper and the zinc when they flattened out a new penny compared to a pure copper penny. So those are some of the activities. This year we're going to have a chemistry day as well, in May most likely. Last year it was in May, and one of the wonderful additions to chemistry day was I was going to put on a demo show to talk about some chemical concepts, but this past year I allowed my AP Chem students to put on the chemical demonstration show. So by putting it in May after the AP test, I'm going to continue that tradition for my AP kids to do some of the demonstrations and get excited about what they learned in AP Chem as well. Then I have, material science. That is another grant that I received. And material science is embedding physics, chemistry, biology, all the sciences are integrated. Traditionally in colleges, like I was in college, a chemistry major, a physics major. Now a lot of schools have turned to what is known as a material science major because the materials we use today rely so much about the chemistry principles as well as the physics principles and now even biological principles because a lot of this new material are going into the bodies. So with this grant, I was able to receive rolling mills, as you saw in the chemistry day, to actually, I'm going to use my teacher voice, to roll out a penny. So there's an example of how the penny looks. It becomes a crescent shape when you roll it out. To using materials and learning what quenching is versus slow cooling and what happens to the metals when you quench something, when you slow cool it and changes the properties. To learning something about polymers that are more than just first-year chemistry polymers. We learned about resins and how to make different resins, like a polyurethane resin, which could be flexible, like you see in your dashboards, versus rigid, which they made, and they actually made a project that they made a clothespin that you could use as like a photo frame to hold photos or for notes and stuff, and that was really cool. They got to figure out how to dye plastics, how to make the components of the polyurethane resin, etc. And then as well as using a high temperature heat gun, learn the different properties of polymers. What does crystalline mean? What does amorphous mean? What does thermoset mean? Thermoplastic. Why do we recycle thermoplastics instead of thermosets? And learn more and more. One of the things that I'm now tossing around in my head is to expand and look into now bioplastics and try to make bioplastics in my classroom to give now another tool of all these different facets of material science. There is one project that was technically not an innovation grant, but I submitted it. It was a larger ticket item, and it was a multi-year project. And the grant committee, the foundation, really was enthused about this idea. It was called Fuel for Fries. and that was how to learn to make biofuel and convert a vehicle into a biodiesel vehicle and start using some of the waste products from our cafeteria into creating the biofuel. So here's some pictures of students creating their biofuel. The first year of doing it, we actually made biofuel using pure vegetable oil that was not used vegetable oil, so they can learn the process. After they created the biofuel, and we made it on a small scale, so you could use pop bottles and everything like that. You make biofuel as well as glycerin, and with that glycerin, then they learned how to make soap. So we saw that how this one product makes two byproducts. One we could use as fuel, the other one we could use as soap as well, so that they're not wasting anything. And then they learned how to distill it, to purify it, how to test for pH, to test for microorganisms, test for clarity, etc. Last year, after the AP exam, I had my AP kids then do this, and they did it twice. They once made it with the true vegetable oil, brand new, and then I brought in waste vegetable oil and had them do the process with that and see how those tests of purity, clarity, pH were all important so they could get the proper ratio for their biofuel. And then we do a combustion lab to check on how cleanly it burns, and we compare that to alcohol, to food, as well as the biofuel. So that's another project. Right now I'm looking into finding a go-kart or something that runs on gasoline so the auto classes can convert it into a biodiesel so that the stuff that we make in class, we can put it in the go-kart and then actually drive it and test it. So I'm going to tell you what's more to come because it's hard to squeeze everything in, but I find time. And I was telling my table, it was really exciting that I have students that I don't even know. They read the paw prints and they see the different grants and activities, and they come to me and ask, can I learn more about this? I'm really interested in solar cells, or I'm really interested in this. And that was so nice to hear that students are interested in these ideas as well. So some of the things that I'm going to be doing this spring is I received a grant on nanotechnology, and there the students are going to make gold and silver nanoparticles. And if you don't know what gold and silver nanoparticles are, gold nanoparticles are red. And if you ever go to a museum that sees medieval stained glass, the red stained glass has gold nanoparticles in it. That is how they got that nice red, ruby red color. Back then, they didn't know it. We now have a whole industry trying to make these particles for certain applications. Silver ones, if you've ever heard the old saying, you know, that you were born with a silver spoon in their mouth, back then, the kings, the queens, the high up hierarchy never really got sick. And it's believed that they used silver spoons and forks to eat, and every time they ate, they scraped off silver nanoparticles. And now we're embedding silver nanoparticles into things and Band-Aids and stuff to not have bacteria grow. It's an antibacterial agent. So those are some of the things they're going to make. They're also going to look at nanocomposites and how hockey sticks and other technologies have evolved with using nanofibers and multi-wall nanotubes. Solar cells, they're going to be making multiple solar cells using different fruits as part of the membrane. And then they'll test the efficiency and see how effective that kind of solar cell is compared to other solar cells. And my Good Eats project, last year we made root beer and ginger ale. And this year we're going to look at the chemistry of garlic and other organic foods, as well as bread making, and to try to make our recipe for soda much better than the original recipe. I try to give them a non-cookbook recipe. I have my students research, and I kind of know what you want them to do, you know, but I don't tell them yes, no. It's a trial and error, so the students realize that how much yeast and how much sugar and all that stuff you put in really is important in actually making soda, that you don't just trial and error and just dump. They had some unusual concoctions last year, but those are all things to come. I would like to end it to say thank you for all the opportunities. And one thing I came out of all of this is, without the foundation, without you guys, all my ideas would just be that, ideas. I would not be able to take them into the classroom and try them out and have then in following years other classes try these ideas out. So I really thank you for this opportunity.
All right, how do I come back to high school? Because that was an awful lot of fun to listen to. And although Sherry appears to be a superwoman, I wanted to point out that a couple of those projects she highlighted at the end, she has through next school year to complete. She is very busy, but we do give our winners 18 months to use their funds. Our next speaker this morning is from Vernon Hills High School, Karen Day. She applied for a grant for a group of students who are meeting after school in our extracurricular program. This is also an area that Foundation strongly believes in. Our kids grow in the classroom, but they continue to learn and grow outside of class. I'd like to invite Karen to come up and talk about the therapeutic garden here at Vernon Hills High School.
Good morning. I'm from Vernon Hills High School and I teach science, and I am the advisor for our environmental club, VH2O. And I received a grant a few years ago to build an outdoor space, and the process started by taking the environmental club to the Chicago Botanic Garden to hear a speaker that was wheelchair bound and a gardener, and his thoughts on therapeutic gardening and what it would mean for people that are wheelchair bound to be able to garden and the kind of therapies that would create. So I put together a photo story. Is it working? To kind of show you the ripple effects of one foundation grant. We received that foundation grant, but it has transformed the space into a place where people meet now, classes gather, after school clubs use this space. And so we created this therapeutic garden, but it has gone from that, and the whole space has been transformed. So it just shows you how one foundation grant can make can have a ripple effect on the whole school. So
the D128 Educational Foundation granted VH2O, our environmental club, monies to build a new gardening space that would provide gardening opportunities for persons needing wheelchairs, as well as additional seating for all. We were also able to use D128 Foundation grant monies to create new planting beds that showcase how native species can be used in landscaping. Students were involved in all aspects of this project. They helped to choose plants, design the new hardscape using permeable pavers, wheel, lift, and build. This space now is used for classrooms, for clubs, and even this overnight camp out for summer school. Past projects in the courtyard involving students working with Martin Associates have included making a pond, and building a very large planter. This large planter is now used by our foods classes. They grow basil and oregano to make pesto, and lemon and mints to make homemade teas. The art department has also embraced the courtyard space. This spring, a 10-foot metal sculpture, similar to this model, will be added to the garden to celebrate the arts. First class has used the garden to highlight the similarities of growing plants and growing goals. Students wrote their goals on seeded paper that was then planted in the garden. Many clubs, classes, and activities are now held in this transformed space. Please join us for our Earth Day celebration, where we showcase student music talent. It will be held in the courtyard on April 20th. Thank you.
So I'd like to again thank the foundation for starting this transformation, and you can see that it has a ripple effect, and many people now enjoy this space. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Karen. Two great presentations this morning, just a small sampling of what the foundation is adding to the district and what our staff gives back to our students each and every day. At this time, I'd like to invite up Jason Newman, my fellow trustee on the foundation, and he's going to speak about our upcoming event this Memorial Day weekend, 5K race.
Thank you, Judy. My name is Jason Newman. I'm a relatively new trustee, just back in, I think, October, and it's been a pleasure to start to learn about the foundation, and in particular, I have 11 consecutive years coming up of children starting high school next year. So we've got a lot of years, and after seeing these types of presentations, I cannot wait for them to start next year. I mean, their experience is going to be amazing. I want to thank Prentice, and I want to thank Ann Landgraf for their leadership from the top down. I think it's an unbelievable honor to be part of such a great community, such a great district. We do have fantastic resources. However, it's the members of our community that make this district one of the strongest in the country. The foundation, as Ann mentioned, is relatively new, 4 years old, and it's been a mission to have an event to launch awareness for the foundation. And as we started discussions on what we could do, we really wanted to come up with something that can engage all members in all aspects of the community. And that's how we came up with our kickoff the summer Lace Up for Learning event, because we thought you could get both high schools involved, you could get students from both schools, you can get parents, you can get people that do not have children in schools anymore. Everybody can come together, and what a great way to do it, for the foundation to raise money, to help with these unbelievable grants. I mean, it's just, I think, a very cool opportunity and something that's a little bit unique for an organization to go out and try to raise money in a different way. On top of that, I'm pretty excited to see the friendly competition that's going to exist between the two schools. We have a fantastic award that's going to be presented at the end, the Big Shoes Award between the two that they'll get to hang up in the school for the fastest runner. So there's a lot of good that can come out of this. And I can tell you that we agreed to do this 3 weeks ago, roughly, I believe. Not even. And the momentum that's taken place over the last couple of weeks has been amazing. And in particular, we've been able to achieve that momentum from two people, Mary Todrick and Ann Simonian, who is our race director. And without these two efforts over the past couple of weeks, we wouldn't be able to have a race. So I'm going to turn it over to Mary at this point. She can give you the details on this. And we definitely need your help. We need sponsors and we need runners. So I'm looking forward to lacing up my shoes and seeing everybody out here in the next couple of months.
As Jason said, we're extremely excited about this event because it's going to be sort of an end of the school year, beginning of summer, kick off great weather. The event is going to be held at 8 o'clock in the morning on Memorial Day, May 30th. And if you see the newsletter at your seat, there's a little bit of details there at the bottom. We thought better to get out a little bit of details right now while we have an audience. Registration can be done in written form, or you can do it online, which is the much easier way. And we will have that set up hopefully by this Friday, and that will be at signmeup.com, and that's all in your newsletter as well. So we're looking for runners, we're looking for sponsors, and has sponsorship sheets if anyone would like to take one, if you know of anyone that might be interested in sponsoring the event. Their names will go on the back of the t-shirts, which would be very cool. They'll have the logo on it and everything. So we're just really excited. And again, Ant is over here with sponsorship forms. And if you have any other questions or anything else that you need answered, just see us afterwards. Thank you.
And now we would like to acknowledge those people who have contributed to the foundation on the junior and sophomore level. This year, instead of having an actual plaque, we're going to be having screens. An example of one is right here on the table. One of these will be in each of the buildings and at the district office, and this will be displaying not only the contributors, but also any information about the foundation. It's constantly rolling, and also what's more important is that we can constantly update it. So when there's information coming out, like about the 5K run or things like that, we can update that. This will be in the building so that a lot of other people can see it all the time. At the junior level, we would like to recognize Brian Kelly. Please come up, Brian. You'll receive your plaque. Also contributing at the junior level is Jeff and Tricia Hart, the Kramer family. I believe the Kramers are not here. Scott and Karen Luce and Judy Sugar. And contributing at the sophomore level are David and Donna Club. Al Fleming and Angela Latham. Kurt Crebaum, I believe is that with us this morning. James and Deborah Larson. We also have Prentice and Phyllis Lee, Dr. Buzz Perry, Greg and Lorraine Pritchard, and Bill and Sue Ellen Skeens. And thank you also to all those who also donated at the freshman level. Without your contributions, all of these things that you just saw this morning cannot be possible. We thank you so much. And have a pleasant day.